Hello everybody, this is Jasmina, and in this video I'm going to talk about a couple special things that may be present in your Bazi that will help you with money. Now I do assume that most people here don't have it if they're looking at this video for money, because usually if you have these things and it's functional, that is, then you don't have problems with money. So, but at least you might be able to recognize it in somebody else. There are two special formations that help a person that has such a chart to become wealthier than average and can even make them quite wealthy. And there are a couple of symbolic stars that basically do the same thing. If you have one of these conditions met, and there are usually quite a few things you have to worry about, that's in your bata, and you don't already in a situation where you're doing better than your peers, people your age, that is, then either you're not likely taking advantage of your natural talents, maybe you don't realize you have them, so you haven't tapped into them, or perhaps it's just something that because of your situation, it's impossible, for various reasons. But it could also be that you're not working hard enough or that you live in an area with very little opportunity. And that can be within a single country. And if it's within a single country, you can usually move and you can gain opportunity. Uh, as long as it's not the entire country that is in bad economic situation. And if it is, well, it is harder to do, but you usually are still doing better than your peers because you have more skills and because you know um, the situation when you've got trouble that breeds creativity usually. So you're the one who's going to come up with a solution. Now you are not going to receive the wealth that these formations are supposed to give you unless you put in some effort, actually some real effort to be the best you can be. Otherwise, if you just want to play video games, then don't expect your life to get better. You know, this is this is really important. Even if you have these, if you don't do anything with them, you don't get the wealth. And that's why I say you're not working hard enough. That's why that's part of the statement. Now there is a symbolic star, and I'm going to go over those first because they're a bit easier to see. It's called Fortune Virtue. Now you also may, if you're watching my the date selection things as a member, there is a day that's also called the Fortune Virtue Day, and it has the same rules as the Batsa has. And actually, there are a number. Not every symbolic star in Batsa has the same named date selection. So you can't just randomly go between the two. You do want to stick to which ones are already recognized because they have been tested and figured out that they work. So keep these two kind of separate. Now, unfortunately for this one, clashes and even combinations in your natal Batsa chart will destroy this formation. Now, this when we're talking about this, we're talking about the relevant animals, and you will see in a minute what I'm talking about. This has to do with the your day branch, the animal sign in your day pillar, and the other animal signs in your chart. So you can have combinations and clashes outside the fortune virtue, just not with one of the fortune virtue stars. But the nice thing is, it makes it easier for people without combinations to have positive wealth energy because oftentimes these combinations will give you an extra boost of a certain element that makes it easier for you to earn money. But if you don't have those, you feel like you're missing out. This may be able to make up for that. And again, it comes from a combination between your day branch, which is the animal sign in your day pillar, and the other branches, the other animal signs in your chart. And we're really talking mostly about your natal chart, if you want it to be permanent, that is. Luck pillars can also create this, but they only last a decade. And the current year's pillar, the year pillar we're living in this case, it's a wood dragon. It can help too, but in general, it's not as strong because it's only 1 year. And I mean, unless you get really, really lucky, 1 year is usually not enough to make you wealthy. So this is the rules. So you find your day branch here, not your year branch. This is not, so if you say you're a horse, that's your year. We're talking about what's in your day. So find your day master and look below it. That's basically what you need to do. And so if you have a rat in your day pillar, then your fortune virtue star, they actually call them stars, would be the rooster. And you would have to have the rooster in your year, month, or hour pillar. If you have it, like let's say in the luck pillar, then that would only be that 110 that decade, that 110 years that will give you this fortune virtue. And if you have it, definitely, it's a good thing. Let's hope it's not really far in the future, and let's hope it's not already past. But if it's coming in the next 20 years, you've got some time to plan. Or if it's the current one, it's time to really work hard. So you just find this. If you have a dragon, your fortune virtue animal is the ox. Let's hope you have a dragon and an ox in your chart. That would be very nice. Now, remember you can have combos or clashes. Now, none of these clash, but you could have, let's say, another one of your animals could be a horse, and that would clash with the rat, and so that would knock this out. So you do have to look at that, and everybody is, by now, I think, is pretty familiar with their standard clash animals. So check those first. But this is a combo. The tiger and the pig are a six combo. It's a six harmony combo. And but remember, combos have to be side by side. So this is going to be in your day. So if you have a pig in an hour or the month, then this is knocked out. But if the pig is in the year, it's okay because it's not side by side, so it doesn't combine. Also, you should look, even if it is in the hour and or the month, you have to look to see whether or not there's an appropriate element that allows those two to combine. And so you need to go back and look at the combination, my video about combinations. So this is a little tricky. So you really have to be aware of whether or not you really have a combination. And then even though we call them punishments, they are a type of clash, and so they can do it too. So the bullying punishment involves the ox, dog, and goat. So if you have the ox and the dog in as your day branch and one of your other pillars, if you also have the goat, it's going to knock it out. And this one does not have to be side by side. So this one would just knock it out if you have that. And also in your goat luck pillar, it would also knock it out. And then we have the ungrateful punishment. And so it's this kind of combination. So if you have a snake as your day animal and you have a tiger, let's hope you don't have a monkey also, because then it's gone. And also in your monkey luck pillar, it would be gone too. And if you have a monkey, you need the snake somewhere else. But if you also have the tiger, again, that knocks it out. So there are things you have to check. Now, the three combinations can also remove the fortune virtue star. And this gets a bit more complicated, so that's why I'm going through it. But these are the combinations that basically, these are the three harmony combinations. Now, none of these rows, like you don't have the monkey and the rat or the rat and the dragon. that is not there. So none of these rows all by themselves would knock out the chance. But you have to look and see if you've got uh, something in your chart that will make a problem. And it'll make a little more sense in just a second. So again, you must have all three in your chart. Your luck pillar could bring it in, and so could the current year's pillar. But if it's the current year, it's a bit easier to overcome. Your luck pillar is going to be harder. You have to work harder. Now, there are also something called front half combinations. That's two out of the three, and the back half. And so the front half would be monkey and rat, and the back half would be rat and dragon. So this is the first half, pig and rabbit, second half, rabbit and goat, and so forth. So those things also can knock out because they're a partial combination, but they probably don't knock it completely out because it's only half that energy. So it's not as bad as having a three combo. So let's say this is your day animal. So this will make a little more sense. So you have the if it's the monkey, you need the snake. But if you also have rat and dragon as your other two pillars, or one of these is your luck pillar, and you have the other one, then for that luck pillar, you wouldn't have it. But if you have these four animal signs, you also do not have the fortune virtue star. So that's kind of a bummer. The pig, if this is your day animal, and you have all four of these, again, it's gone because the monkey would be your fortune virtue star. Now, if it's a different animal, you don't have the monkey, you don't have it either, right? Because this is what you have to have. This column and this column is what you have to have the fortune virtue star. So you just look and hopefully you find it. I'll go through this row by row or column by column. So this is for rat. If you have this combination, this combination knocks out the fortune virtue star. The rabbit, which is my day animal, I would need the monkey. I don't have the monkey, so I don't have the fortune virtue star no matter what. I also have a pig in my chart, but not the goat. And so I'm missing these two. So I still don't have the fortune virtue star. So you have the tiger, the horse. If you have all four that here, then again, unfortunately, it's gone. Now, if you have, let's say you don't have the dog, then you may still be able to have the fortune virtue star. Maybe if you don't have the tiger, you might have it too. Maybe you got, as long as it's some other animal, it's possible. You have to check everything though. And these are the last one, the last group. So you just find this. Now, it's kind of interesting. These are all the earth animals, and these are all earth animals too. So these are pretty interesting. Now, these are the front half combinations, the back half combinations. They have an extra requirement. If you have the monkey and the rat, and they need to have water somewhere in the heaven stem. Do not look at the hidden stem, only look at the heaven stem, the top row. If you do not have water, you are not going to have this combination. So just because you have the rat and the monkey doesn't necessarily knock out the fortune virtue star. It depends on whether or not you have water. And if it's the rat and the dragon, again, you still need water. Now, I have this combination in my chart, and I need wood, and I have wood. So this would knock it out if I were to have it. But of course, I don't have the right animal to have the fortune virtue star. But that would knock it out. And you have the rabbit and the goat, and again, you need to have wood. The tiger and the horse, or the horse and the dog, need fire in the heaven stem. And the snake and the rooster and the ox need metal. So this is how you know whether or not you have these combinations. But remember, these are only about half as strong. It probably doesn't completely destroy the fortune virtue star for you if you happen to have the right combination to have the fortune virtue. Now, if you don't have that element, then the combination is not activated. And so that's like you don't even have to worry about this. Your fortune virtue star, if you have it, would be at full power. Now, of course, I said you need to check the standard clash animals, and it doesn't matter if the clash is with the day branch or with the required fortune virtue animal. You have to check both. And if you don't have any clashes there, then you're good. As long as, of course, you don't have any of these other things. So you can see this is rather complicated. A lot of things to check. Now, clashes that occur outside these two relevant animals are totally fine. You do not have to worry about that. It doesn't affect your fortune virtue star. There's also a symbolic star called the fortune noble star. And this is kind of nice. Clashes and combinations do not destroy this formation. But it's rarer, which is probably one reason why it doesn't destroy it. Here are the Fortune Noble Star, how to recognize them. You need to look at your day pillar, just the day pillar. Don't look at any other pillar. We just want to look at the day pillar. If you have wood tiger, wood ox, or wood pig, fire rat, fire dog, or fire rooster, earth monkey or earth goat, metal horse, metal snake, water dragon, or water rabbit. Any one of these 12. And of course, it's 12 out of 60, so that's only 20%. So that's, most of the people watching won't have it. 80% of the people out there do not have this combination. I do not either. So, uh, and that's just the way it is. But because these are just involving the day pillar, apparently it doesn't matter if there's combinations or clashes. So people with one of these day pillars tend to have relatively easy lives, not just when it comes to money. They get money without having to work super hard. They have good relationships. They usually have pretty good health. Generally they are very good in terms of being able to be a success in life. There is, when we come to the special formations, there's two of them. One of them is called output produces wealth structure. And so it has two criteria and it has some stipulations, and I will go through this. Now, this is the one absolute criteria. You must have both the eating god and the herding officer in your natal chart. Now, you might be able to get this with a luck pillar, but in general, to have this really be true, it has to be in your natal chart. Now, I have the eating god. I don't have any HO. My HO is 0. And you're not just looking at your elemental thing. You're looking for HO and EG labeled next to one of your heaven stems or hidden stems in your natal chart. You also shouldn't be missing any of the 5 elements. You can, it is actually possible to be missing some or have something low, but then it's usually not very easy. It's not a very easy life. But that doesn't mean you won't be wealthy. It's just that you won't be very happy and you'll be worn out by earning money, basically, if you are missing any of the 5 elements. There are some elements that are critical, but but you can be missing certain elements and still be able to become wealthy with this formation. For full implementation, you really want these 5 elements, average or above. And a lot of people actually have this. It's just a matter of, do they have the right, basically, do they have both the eating god and the HO? If they have that, oftentimes they actually have this structure. Lower levels of any of the 5 elements can weaken the cycle. But if it's not very low, and by Joey App's analysis, if it's below 15%, I mean, that is, as long as it's above 15%, because that's where he cuts off the very low, then it is still useful, but it isn't, your life isn't so easy. You can make money, but you're not going to enjoy the process as much as somebody who has all five elements, at least at the average level or above. Now, this comes from several sources, but the most complete source with examples is this website. It is in Chinese, and it was very confusing. And I mean, because it was so confusing, I thought I wasn't going to be able to understand this for maybe a month or more. But when I looked at the name in Chinese, this first character is the first character of the eating god. This is the first character of the herding officer, and this is produces or gives birth to, or gives life to wealth. And I think this means formation. If you translate this to English, you get things like food injuries, because this is eating and this is hurting. And so it was very confusing until I looked at it in Chinese, and then I understood what they were talking about. So to understand how this works, this is basically looks a lot like Joey App's chart, but I put the Daymaster on top because to me it makes more sense. Now the Daymaster in your chart will be labeled with an F or an RW, and the growth cycle is this way. So it depends on what your Daymaster's element is, what each one of these elements will be. But whatever your Daymaster element is, it's going to produce this. And this element will produce this one. This one will produce this one produces this, and this one produces your Daymaster. So you need to basically know this cycle. So the first step is your Daymaster must have something produced, and you have to have both EG and HO, and this is the only one where you must have both. And you must see EG and HO in your natal chart to be able to have this full time. And again, I'm missing the HO. So is my husband, I think. Then what does the output? It will produce the wealth. And this is your wealth. It's all with reference to the Daymaster. So the Daymaster controls whatever element this is. These will show up as IW and DW. You only need one. You don't need both. If you have one, that's good enough. If you have more than one, that's fine too. And this is part of the output producing wealth. That's your wealth, but it goes one more step. Now, if you don't have DW or IW, it is possible you'll still produce wealth, but oftentimes it's not so stable because you don't have a star here to basically keep collecting the wealth. It just kind of comes and goes like a bad Wi-Fi signal. And if you have no wealth elements, this is basically where it stops. And it's really not complete to my understanding. So the wealth element, whatever it is going to produce what many people, especially in the Chinese websites, call the authority star or the authority god or whatever you want to call it. This will be the DO and the 7K. Now, Joey Yap calls this influence. So that's why I put that here. But if you do have a DW or an IW, this one from here will come all the way to the authority and give you some authority. And again, you only need one. You do not need both. Now, the output's wealth element is the authority, because that's always the way it works. It's just two ones on in the growth cycle is always going to be the one because the output element controls the authority. So if this is wood, this is fire, this is earth, this is metal. Wood controls earth, fire controls metal. So that is why this is outputs wealth element. And from my understanding of reading like 4 or 5 different sites, this is the true wealth produces, output produces wealth. This is the complete cycle. Now, you notice we haven't talked about resources, but resources are very important. If you do not have resources, you tend to become quite tired by the time you get to this point. It really drains your energy uh, because you're working very hard and you don't have the resources to help give you energy back. So this is also extremely important. And again, it can be either DR or IR, doesn't matter which one, but these resources re-energize the daymaster so the cycle can continue. And if the authority, if you have one of these and one of these, one of these two and one of these two, then the resources get re-energized too. And it's just really a continuous cycle that regenerates itself and the energy never leaves. But if you're missing both of these or both of these or both of these, then that cycle gets broken and you don't really have the output produces wealth structure fully realized. Although you can still get wealthy, that wealth, that doing all that work to get the wealth tends to drain you. And so you don't do it for very long. The second special formation is called wealth penetrating the portal. That's usually how it's translated. In Chinese, it actually says door. Either way is fine with me. So to know whether or not you have this structure, you have to know what your wealth stars are, but they're going to be labeled as DW and IW next to the elements. So you'll be able to tell, and actually your animal signs have it, but in this case it doesn't matter. And you need to look at your month pillar because this is the one that has to do with money. So you want to see IW or DW in the hidden stem, and you want to see IW or DW in the heaven stem. We don't really care about the branch. So it can be a mixture. You can have DW down here, IW here, or IW down here, DW up here, or they could be the same. It is absolutely unimportant, but it must be in your month pillar. This is the one to really only look at. Now, this comes from a video by Iverson Lee, and it is an old poem, and I have read a little bit other places too. So this is real. Now, again, you're going to have one or the other, but they have to be in both the hidden stem and the heaven stem of your month pillar. Now, which pillar you need will depend on your daymaster. For example, a wood daymaster needs earth in both its hidden and heaven stems because earth is the wood's wealth elements, or wealth gods, I should say. The fire would need metal because fire controls metal, and it has to be there. So if we summarize the whole thing, a wood daymaster, if they have a month pillar of earth ox, earth tiger, earth dragon, earth snake, earth horse, earth goat, earth monkey, or earth dog, they have this wealth penetrating formation. If you have a fire daymaster, you can have a metal ox, metal snake, metal monkey, metal rooster, or metal dog, and you will have this. If you have an earth daymaster, water rat, water ox, water dragon, water monkey, or water pig will do the trick. Metal, if that is your daymaster, then a wood tiger, wood rabbit, wood dragon, wood goat, or wood pig, and you will have this formation. And if you have a water as a daymaster, a fire tiger, fire snake, fire goat, or fire dog, again, these must be in your month pillar. If you have this, and it has to be, we're talking the element on top and these animal signs because the animal signs have hidden things. So this is comes from me just looking at all the data. Now, just for FYI, for your information, neither I or my hubby have any one of these structures or stars. None whatsoever. And this means that our wealth has to come from hard work and careful saving and investment. And so we're not poor. I mean, we're not rich, certainly not rich as most of the other members of our family, but we're also not poor. So we're somewhere in the middle, which isn't such a bad place to be. People don't tend to ask us for money because they know we don't really have anything to spare. Now, although we don't have the wealth storage animal that you would read from your wealth capacity video, we both have earth animals in our chart. So it is at least conceivable that the four storage animals, that is the wood, the ox, the dragon, the goat, or the dog, they will help you even if that is not your best wealth storage animal, not the one that you should ideally have, because these are the storage animals. They they work that way. These are all earth animals. They allow you to tuck things away. Now, these four are sometimes called the graveyard or the tomb animals also, because that's where you put, at least in ancient times, that's where you put people who died. They buried them. Now, the other animals also have groups. The growth animals, snake, the tiger, snake, pig, and monkey, these are the start of the four seasons. That's why they're called the growth animals. It's the growth, the beginning of a season. And then you have the four cardinal animals, the rat, the rabbit, the horse, and the rooster. And those are in the four cardinal directions on the 24 mountains. So if you hear the phrase graveyard animals, um, or growth animals, or cardinal, and whichever one is not growth or storage, they may have different names for it. These are the ones they're talking about. So this helps you understand some of the other stuff you might read out there. So that's it. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. I hope that at least some of you have some of these formations because it would be very nice if you do. Thanks again for watching.